So it's not really a revelatory statement to say that how we see ourselves, how we look at ourselves informs how we feel about ourselves and how we engage with, connect with our spouses and our level of intimacy and our comfortability with that. That's not new. I feel like we can all drop in and agree with that. However, I think we need to take that a little bit more literally, how we see ourselves and how we look at ourselves. And there is a specific thing that I have done over the years that have really helped me. It is simple and it might seem too simple or a little wild for me to say what I'm going to say and share what I'm going to share today. But it genuinely helped me. And it's something that I don't think we think about enough. And sharing things that we don't think about much or sharing something in a new way so that we can consider something different, that's when we get opened up. We get a little cracked open, we get to grow, we get to entertain a different and new perspective that helps us elevate and shift our thinking. So, let's talk about it. First off, hey, thank you. Welcome. I'm Imani. I am a marriage coach. And so, yeah, I talk about relationships a lot on here, but I talk a lot about life, figuring yourself out, self discovery, how to navigate through change that is inevitably going to happen in our lives, and just what that looks like in real time. Right. So let's talk about it. I imagine there was a time before mirrors. There had to be, right? There had to be a time before we had mirrors and people were not really obsessed with or even it wasn't even commonplace to look at yourself in the mirror, to look at yourself up and down, to to scrutinize and to fix or whatever. Maybe you looked at yourself in a shard or in a body of water, a river or a lake or something where you couldn't see everything. You just kind of saw this distorted view of yourself. It's hard to even imagine not really being able to fully see what other people see when they look at you, when they look at your face, when they look at your body, that you're not able to fully see that. And I wonder if it was kind of liberating and free to be in a space where it wasn't common to look at yourself in the mirror. And then fast forward, we are now in a time where people avoid mirrors. There's so many interviews and podcasts that I listen to where women specifically were talking about how they would avoid mirrors, how they didn't want to look at themselves in the mirror, because as a society now we care a lot about what we look like and about how we're perceived and what our physicality and how we show up and what looks good and what's beautiful. We have a lot of narratives and messaging around all that stuff. And so yeah, we're looking in a mirror, we're looking in that mirror. Um, and some people aren't. And I remember feeling like, man, we've we've come a long way to a point where we it's uncomfortable to look at yourself and where that's coming from and not wanting to really see and yet knowing that other people are seeing you. Like sit with that for a second, to not want to see yourself, knowing that when you go out into the world, other people are looking at you. And what could possibly going through your head if you feel like I can't see it, but I know other people are seeing it? If that's a heavy thing. And that's something that in this age of like, you better see yourself. Everything's a surface. Your phone is a mirror, the camera's a mirror is a mirror, a glass surface is a mirror, your side view mirror in your car is a mirror. That you just want to look at yourself. But how often do we look at ourselves when we don't feel fly? When we don't have a fly outfit on, when our face isn't beat or made up, like how often do we just look at ourselves and study ourselves? I remember many a time, I can't pinpoint when I started to feel like this, because this was happening for me even in seasons where I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, specifically after I had my son Zen. My body had changed so drastically, and it was changing so drastically before that because I was emotionally eating. I knew I was emotionally eating. I was eating for comfort, and it was showing in my body. And then when I finally wanted to change that, I got pregnant, and then I couldn't change it. And so I'm like, okay, here we are. And I can still remember, even in times like that, I was looking at myself in the mirror. But I wasn't just looking at myself. And I don't just look at myself. There are times where I study myself. You ever do that? Like I'm barefaced, washed, barefaced, and I'm just looking at myself in the mirror, right? And I'm looking at the darkness here, the puffiness here. I'm looking at these beauty marks and moles that are starting to form under here that I know that my mom had and my sister has. And I'm just learning what my face really looks like. Not because and not hiding behind anything. I'm not against looking fly or wearing makeup or having a beat face. It's not about that. But when the makeup comes off and the fly clothes get thrown in the hamper because you wore them, you looked fly. When you look at yourself in the mirror, do you take the time to look at everything? What do your eyebrows look like? What's going on around your eyes? There's a lot that happens around our eyes. The shape of your nose, the shape of your lips, the way your chin is. In my side profile, I have the type of neck, right? I have the type of neck that doesn't come in a lot. So, my neck is just right here. I might be prone to some things. And I know there's things that help that, creams and exercises and all of that I just haven't really been doing or using, but I still notice those things about myself. I'm not surprised by seeing that. I'm clear that that's what the lines on my face look like, or smile lines, that I have, and or how puffy my cheeks are when I smile up here. I just want to know what it is and see it. The stretch marks on my shoulders or my thigh, whatever it is, I'm looking at myself, I'm studying, and I'm not looking to be critical, like, oh girl, look, you need some, you're looking a little rough. I'm not looking at myself for that reason. I'm looking at myself to know. I'm looking at myself to be aware. I'm looking at myself to see what other people possibly see, right? The opposite of, like, I don't want to see what other people see. I'm avoiding mirrors versus I'm really looking in the mirror because I want to see what other people see. I want to see if I can see it for myself. And being aware of what that is the first part in loving yourself. Like this eye tip, nope, this one, so it's opposite. Always looks a little more closed than this one. I was like, I don't know what that's about. Is it an eyelid thing? Is it an eye thing? I really don't know. But I've noticed this about myself. So even if somebody pointed out, I'm like, yeah, that's true. I've noticed that too. About what my face looks like. You saw it. So um, all of that helps me drop into the reality of what it is I look like, and then start to drop into the reality of what I feel about that. There are times when I haven't felt that great about it. And there are times where I'm like, man, I'm loving this. I can see that now. I still see the beauty in the things that maybe other people won't find beautiful, but I am finding it beautiful in myself. And there's a boost in that, and because of that boost, that translates into how I engage with my husband, how I walk with him, how I feel about myself, how I walk when I'm not walking right next to him. Maybe I'm walking in front of him, but I'm feeling good and I'm feeling confident, not because I'm looking super fly, but just because I have an awareness of what I look like in my body and my face and my my lines and my wrinkles and the shape of my neck and the shape of my chin and the shape of my eyes and my eyebrows and all the things. And I can settle in that with a level of awareness that brings me comfort. And I don't think a lot of us literally look at ourselves and study ourselves without having a super critical eye. And it's something that can truly be helpful when it comes to just walking in our own skin in this world. I like to think that that's part of what they mean when they say be comfortable in your own skin. And of course, when you're comfortable in your own skin, you engage with your partner differently. You're more confident, you're more comfortable with things. Um, so yeah, we just look at ourselves. And this might seem silly, but it works. And it can be kind of emotional sometimes to just look at yourself in the mirror and work on not being critical and just see and have awareness. It can be a really liberating thing. perhaps similar to the liberation of folks who didn't get to see themselves at all except in a distorted water surface. Yeah. So that's what I have today, a short one for you, possibly because it's been a long day. I have a little bit of a headache, to be quite honest. I probably need to drink more water today. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna get some water and some rest. I appreciate you. And yeah, I'm here. I make videos so that we can have that reminder to stay connected to yourself, to your spouse, and to creating the life that feels good to you, feels good to you. And that's your vibe. Please subscribe so we can continue these conversations, so we can continue to stretch our perspective, so that we can continue to build upon things you already know and add these layers that allows us to elevate together on this journey. If you something resonated with you, let me know down in the comments below. I appreciate you. For those of you who want to go deeper, for those of you who are ready to work on self while you're working on your relationship and your marriage, and to have those things marry each other in a safe space with somebody who's been doing this, who knows how to hold that space for you and knows how to help you through the communication with self and your partner, and that's that connection and that intimacy. Meet me down in the description. I got you. And I'm going to see you tomorrow. Thanks again for tuning in and hanging with me.